Shalom, Akim. Want to start out by saying Kal Halayim La Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rukakodash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and safety to the elect laboring around the four corners of the earth, giving all diligence to make their calling of election sure. And shalom to the sincere sisters. This lesson is going to be entitled "The Passover is Near." Purge out the leaven. All right. And I just, I was watching a video of one of the brothers from the Dallas camp that he did dealing with the day of Pentecost and the 12 apostles. And I had actually been thinking about that as well, but the Spirit moved me to do a lesson on basically, taking heed before the Passover comes and purging whatsoever leaven that you have within your spirit. Whether it's if you have a problem with a brother, if it's envy or malice, if it's hatred, all right, if it's slothfulness, if whatever impurities that you may have in your spirit, you want to analyze them now and purge. And there's different methods of purging according to the Bible. It's not only one way to purge; it's many methods. And through the Spirit of Yahweh Bashim Shai, I want to go through a couple of scriptures to show how you can purge certain things out of your spirit. So I'm going to start with 1 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 6. It says, "Your glorying is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump? Purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump, as ye are unleavened. For even Yahweh Shai our Passover is sacrifice." So the scriptures say a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. All right. So what is that leaven? When you look into the word leaven, it means morally corrupt. All right. When you look at the word leaven, as a matter of fact, let's take a look at it. All right. If I'm not mistaken, it means morally corrupt. Right. Leaven of invertebrate mental or moral corruption. All right. Meaning what? Spiritual impurities. All right. The spirit of malice and hatred, the opposite of the fruits of the spirit. All right, you want to purge that out. All right, you want to get rid of that, and the ways that you can get rid of certain leaven is by doing what? Let's say you have an issue with the brother. All right, you can't go into the Passover and eat the Passover, and you got a problem with a brother, and you hadn't tried to resolve that brother, man. I'm so lucky you hadn't tried to resolve that problem with that brother, man. All right. And I'm going to go to verse 8, and then I'm going to jump to that example. All right. It says, "Therefore, let us keep the feast, not with old leaven, neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness." So we can't go into the Passover with the same old nigga, the same old spirit, man. Each Passover that comes, we gotta come into this thing with a more refined spirit, man. All right, because it's a new year. It's going into a new year. So you got to be a newer creature. Like when you read the book of Psalms, the 51st chapter, King David asked Yahweh Shai to renew a right spirit within him. So as we go into these Passovers, man, we have to do some self-analysis, all right, or do a self-analysis within our spirit to see what we need to get rid of and purge out. All right. And that goes for myself as well, and I'm mainly I've been meditating on things that I know that I have to work on going into this Passover, and through the Spirit of Yahweh Bashim Shai, I'm going to work on it, man. All right. It says, therefore, let us keep the feast, not with old leaven, neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. And that's the importance of the unleavened bread. All right. Because the unleavened bread represents what? Sincerity and truth. Meaning you don't have anything in you that can puff up. Because the scriptures say what? Knowledge puffeth up. All right. So I'm going to go to Matthew chapter 5, verse 22. All right. It says, "But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment." So let's say you do have a issue or a problem with a brother that you didn't that hadn't been resolved, or you feel like there's friction in the spirit. Hey, you want to just give that brother a call up on the line and just have a conversation with him. Try to make everything good, man. Hash it out. Figure out what's the issue or the problem and resolve it and get back to the work. Because if you go into the Passover with that spirit, you'll be in danger of the judgment. It says, and whosoever shall say to his brother, Rakah, and I think Rakah means like empty-minded, which is like an insult, But let's get the word Rakah. I think it's an old saying that we used to say. Yeah, senseless or empty-headed man, a term of reproach used among the Jews in the time of Yahushua. So if you have that spirit where you want to tell a brother, Rakah, you simple, man, you know, senseless, or you simple-minded, is in a antagonistic way for no reason. It says, shall be in danger of the council, but whosoever shall say, thou fool, shall be in danger of hellfire. Verse 23. Therefore, if thou bring thy gift to the altar, what is the altar? When we go before Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, and what is the gift? Yourself. It's spiritual now. All right. So when you bring yourself to go before Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, it says, and there remembers that thy brother have aught against thee, leave there thy gift before the altar and go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift. So before we go into the Passover, if you have any unresolved issues with any particular brother, you know, it's best you just, you know, have a face-to-face conversation or a phone call and iron it out before the Passover comes. And it makes things better, and it also makes that relationship with that brother increase, you know. So these are certain methods that that brothers should take into accountability going into the Passover. You know, this is a time of purging and cleansing out, because the Passover, you know, is a very important day. It was a day, you know, where Yahushua got crucified that same evening. You know. And then after that came what? The Feast of Unleavened Bread, which Yahushua rose during the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is still the Passover. All right. And then after the Passover comes what? The day of Pentecost, or the Feast of First Fruits. But now spiritually, you know, you're gonna have to, you know, bring your first fruits, your increase to the Lord, so that He can increase you. That was when you read the book of Acts, during the time of Pentecost, that was when they received spiritual powers. So the Spirit of the Lord gave them increase according to their spirit. So that's the same thing. We have to be mindful of the same thing, man. All right. Now from there, I'm going to go to Sirach chapter 18, verse 20. It says, before judgment, examine thyself, and in the day of visitation, thou shalt find mercy. So before judgment comes, all right, we have to constantly examine ourselves. We have to put ourselves on the self-examination table, man, and take a good look at our flaws and our problems, man, and not be in the spirit like the dude that was going out to the DC camp. You can't be in that spirit, man. You could tell this man don't want to take accountability for nothing, man. He don't look in the mirror and see his impurities. He don't see anything wrong with himself. He only see things wrong with other men. And that's a huge problem, man. That's a huge problem. Men that can always find faults in the next man, but can't find faults within their own spirit. That mean what? You ain't examining yourself close enough, man. You a finger pointer. All right. It says, and in the day of visitation thou shalt find mercy, and that's what we hoping for. That the mercy of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua may rest upon us. You know, that we will be found, you know, in the favor of His grace. Verse 21. Humble thyself before thou be sick, and in the time of sin show repentance. All right. Let nothing hinder thee to pay thy vow in due time, and defer not until death to be justified. All right. So meaning what, man? In this faith, man, hey, don't let nothing stop you from serving Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. Don't let nothing stop you from growing and increasing in His faith, man. All right. Don't let nothing hinder you, man. All right. It says, before thou prayest, prepare thyself, and be not as one that tempteth the Lord. Verse 24. Think upon the wrath that shall be at the end, and the time of the vengeance when he shall turn away his face. So meditate and think about the times that we getting ready to go into, the turbulent times, the day of tribulation. All right, and understand, what it's going to take for you to be preserved in that day, because he's going to Yahweh Shema Shai, he's going to turn his face away again on the whole world except for the elect. So you have to be one of those ones that he's willing to deal with within that day. But now is the time to show him, and this is a good time to purge out. Passover will be here, in roughly a month or so. It's close. It's fast approaching. All right. So we have to get ourselves in that mind frame, that serious mind frame, and take a deep look within our spirit and see what do we need to work on, what do we need to address, what do we need to check, what do we need to purge out. And you can purge out spirits through prayer. Prayer is another way of purging out certain spirits. Prayer, fasting, all right. Burning the frankincense oils and the frankincense resin. The frankincense incense, get the frankincense myrrh, different righteous smells and vibrations. You can play harp music. You can exercise. Exercising is good in purging and getting rid of certain spirits. You could eat, go on a post diet like Daniel, which I actually have there here, and I'm going to show that when you actually do things like that, it increases your knowledge, your wisdom, and your understanding. When you listen to good music, good heart music, from time and time again, not always listening to hip hop and bull crap. Which it ain't nothing wrong with that, but you don't want to fill your mind with all that junk, man. You want to put good vibrations on you, good energy on you, so that the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Shai can continue to abound and increase within you. All right. So I'm going to go to that account. This is Daniel chapter 1, verse 11. It says, Then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, which is Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Those are the names these are their original names. And the names that were given to them were Belteshazzar for Daniel. Hananiah was Shadrach. Mishael is Meshach, and Azariah is Abednego. All right, verse 12. It says, Prove thy servants, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let them give us post to eat and water to drink. So let's look at the word post and see what that is. It says what? Vegetables. All right. So Daniel and the three holy children, which in total was 4, they said that they didn't want to defile themselves with the king's meat. So they said, let them give us post to eat, which is what? Vegetables. So they went on a straight vegetable diet and water for 10 days. All right. Verse 13. It says, Then let our countenances be looked upon before thee, and the countenance of the children that eat of the portion of the king's meat. And as thou seest, deal with thy servants. So then Daniel said, hey, give us the post to eat and the water to drink. Then come look at our physical makeup. And then you make a judgment and see whether we need to eat the king's meat or if we good. So verse 14 says, So he consented to them in this matter and proved them 10 days. So this guy Melzar, basically approved of them eating the post. So verse 15, it says, And at the end of the 10 days, their countenances appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat. So they looked more healthier, more refreshed in their countenance. Their outward appearance was more pure than the rest of the children that ate the king's meat. Verse 16, it said, Thus Melzar took away the portion of their meat and the wine that they should drink and gave them posts. All right. And this is the point that I wanted to get to too. And as a result of them eating the posts, let's see how their spirits were. It says, As for these 4 children, the Most High gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom. And Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. So what happened? Because they ate the posts, their spirit increased. All right, they were given what a spiritual boost. So we have that same power on our side, and we can actually tap into that if we apply ourselves in certain matters. All right, purging out certain things within our spirit, becoming more of a pure spirit, so that Yahweh Bashim Shai can take that spirit and use us for His purpose. All right, that's what this thing is going, man. This thing is increasing. All right, the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Shai is abounding in the earth through the brothers, through the brotherhood, and it's going to continue to abound as we show more diligence and more concern towards this truth, man, and this ministry. All right, let me get this last scripture, and I'm gonna close it out. This is 2 Timothy 2:21. It says, "If a man therefore purge himself from these, he shall be a vessel unto honor." All right. Now, matter of fact, let's start up. All right. Let's start at verse 20. It says, "But in a great house there are not only vessels of gold and of silver, but also of wood and of earth, and some to honor and some to dishonor." All right. So, hey, man, in this world, in this fleshly realm, you have vessels of gold and silver, which represent what? The Israelites. Like it tells you, I have likened the children of Israel to fine gold. All right. Or a man shall be more precious than fine gold. Salaki. So a man is comparable to gold, the Israelite man, but also of wood and earth, and some to honor and some to dishonor. So the vessels of dishonor are what? The heathen nations. Verse 21, "If a man therefore purge himself from these, he shall be a vessel unto honor." And you have to purge yourself from what? All right, the spirit of slothfulness, malice, hatred, envying, strife, contention. You know, the evil deeds and ways of wickedness, man. You have to purge yourself from that as you constantly grow in this truth. You got to get better. You got to grow with this thing. And if you find it hard to get rid of certain habits that you may have to fast and pray and ask the Most High to get rid of it. It can be done. It can be done. You just got to have that faith. All right. So, and by doing so, by you purging, going into the Passover, the Most High, he will purify. He will even more purify that spirit in you. He will refine it even more, man. You know. So that's the beauty. That's the beauty of Yahweh Bashim Shai, man. You know, if you show effort on your end, all right, and then he'll give you that increase, man. It's an easy thing for the Most High. All right. It says, "He shall be a vessel of honor, sanctified and meet for the master's use, and prepare unto every good work," man. All right. So by you doing so, you will be prepared to even do more good works, man. Imagine you purging out your spirit and you getting rid of certain things within your spirit to the point to where the Most High can put the spirit on you to perform miracles, to do healings and bring in a large number of people through speaking in tongues from other countries, man. The Most High could very well use you for that if you purify yourself and prepare yourself for even greater works, man. All right. So, hey, brothers, you know, it's just something that was on my spirit. I wanted to put out there, and you know, hopefully you brothers were edified and take heed in the spirit. I want to close out this lesson by saying, "Call Halalim La Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rikakodash." Double honors once again to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone. Peace and safety to the elect men, women, and children. Shalom.